Hi everybody. Now that we have Anaconda Navigator installed on our computer, we can go ahead and work on some very basic Python commands. So the first one that I want to talk about is called a print statement. So this is just when you tell your interpreter to print some output on the screen. It can be a string, which is like a chain of characters, or you could tell it to chain a bunch of them together, or you could tell it to print something a million times. So a print statement looks like this in Python 3.5. Print, open parentheses, open quotes. You can do either double quotes or single quotes, and Navigator is going to autocomplete it for you. This is the first meaningful tutorial. And you want to hit Control Enter, and it's going to run your cell for you. Now, if you want to create a new cell after you have issued this command, you can do Shift Enter to automatically create a new cell underneath it. So below the cell, you're getting your output, and that's pretty much all there is to the most basic print statement. But there's also cool things that you can do with them, like print. I'm still going back to Python 2.7, where you didn't need the parentheses. 4 plus, and then you want to use a plus sign to say, I want to string these two things together. For Narnia. So you'll notice here that there's no space here between the for and Narnia. So we're actually not adding a space here because Python takes this literally. It says for plus Narnia. It says, okay, you want me to concatenate these two strings together. So if we wanted to do it with a space between, we could do it there, or we could put a bunch of spaces in there. And you could do basically anything you want with that. You can also put numbers into these strings, and Python will interpret them as strings and not integers. There's a lot of different value object types that I want to talk about in the future. These are just different values. We'll talk about objects and values in the future. But another one that we can do is print, say, boy, and then we could do asterisk 3. So we get boy, boy, boy. Or we could put a space to make it seem like a bunch of words, or a bunch of spaces. If we do an integer in there, it's not actually going to multiply 123 times 3. It's just going to print 123 3 times. You could do this to any number of times, so you get a huge output. And actually, let me see what this does. Yeah. You can also multiply your string by an integer raised to a power, though I don't really know why you would want to do that, but you can do it. There's all sorts of things that you can do with strings. Another thing that I want to talk about with strings is what do you do when there's a quote in your string? So Maggie said hello. How would we have Maggie say hello in quotes? Well, you'll notice out here I used single quotes. So one trick that I can use here is to use double quotes inside my quote. Maybe you'd say, well, I want to use single quotes for Maggie's statement. So what you could do is also put single quotes in here, but there's a neat trick that you can put a forward slash or a backslash in front of these, and you will get the same output. So Maggie said hello, and we have our string in single quotes, and we have our quotation within the string in single quotes too. And you could do this any number of ways. You could put double quotes on the outside and then put your single quote on the inside. It's just whatever floats your boat. All right. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you'll join me next time when we're going to do some basic Python math, talk about other terms you need to know, and try to get a basic understanding of how the computer is processing all this information ingrained in us. All right.